Well, they clearly didn't check to see if the caster was ready to go yet, so we're just gonna jump right into the draft here to kick things off. But welcome everybody who's here for the first couple minutes. We're here casting Division E West Finals tonight, Coastal Finals between Nerd Herders and Lowered Expectations. Velcomer's going to be joining me on a little bit later on, but he's running late at work. So for today, or just this match number one here, I'll be solo casting this one. But hey, at least I don't have to fill too much time here on what to expect from these teams, because we're getting right into this draft, and it's going to be an Alarak ban to kick things off. That's got to be a target ban. You don't see Alarak bans unless there is a threat on the enemy team. So Lowered Expectations must have themselves an Alarak god over there for Nerd Herders to feel like they need to get rid of it here. We can go over a little bit about those map bans tonight as well. The coin toss was won by Nerd Herders. They've opted for first pick here, as you can see, giving map pick over to Lowered Expectations. Those map bans were Brax's Holdout and Volsky on the side of Nerd Herders, and Sky Temple and Towers of Dune banned out by Lowered Expectations. We're going to see the Orphea ban from the side of Lowered Expectations. I like that these teams are really taking their time trying to decide who they want banned out in the draft. I think, you know, at this point, you're in the finals of your division. You've done a ton of scouting, have a ton of information to go off of what you think are threats on the enemy team here. So they really probably are mulling over what of those list of things that they've done their research on is top priority for them to get rid of here. So there goes the Stukov ban from the side of Nerd Herders. We already got the Orphea out. That second ban coming in from Lowered Expectations is going to be the May. See what they prioritize here with their first pick. Hogger is still up. Infernal Shrines is a pretty popular pick for a Hogger, but they're going to opt for the Anduin here. Whenever I see Anduin, I'm starting to think about what are some of those heroes you can pair with the Anduin to get a nice light bomb combo out. Do you want to look for the Joanna and do like a Falling Sword light bomb? Do you want to maybe look for, you know, you can get the Anubrak and burrow in with a light bomb in. You can get the Sonya and leap in with a light bomb. There's so many options here to do some kind of good CC combo with that light bomb. So I'm interested to see if they're going to go for any of that on the side of Nerd Herders. Lowered Expectations, they're picking up the Kael'thas and going to lock in the Joanna as well.
So it begins.
Now, the nice thing about the Joanna Kael'thas pickup is if you have some nice pre-existing synergy in your team, which at this point these teams probably do, you can get some really good bomb spreading going with the Condemn on Joanna and Kael'thas dropping his bombs, obviously, and just pulling them all in and getting that bomb spreading around. So if they can kind of time those things together and get some good synergy going, you might be seeing Kael'thas get a lot of value off of his bombs. Over on the side of Nerd Herders, they've picked up the Vala and the Azmodan here, so they're still looking for an offlaner and a tank. And we're into that last bans here. Deathwing and Malthael banned out by these teams. Anduin's well liked by both these teams. See, here's what happened. Velcomer reached out to me yesterday and was like, hey, will you come, like, cast and stream this game for me that I picked up? And I was like, okay, sure. I haven't been casting a lot this season, so I haven't really been following what these teams play and who's made it to finals and stuff, because I've had a lot of IRL things going on. So I was expecting him to be here to be like, oh, what should we expect for pickups? What heroes do these teams typically like to play? That kind of stuff. But he got held up at work, so I'm coming in a little blind here. You guys probably have a better idea of what to expect than I do from these teams, unfortunately.
All shall suffer.
And Diablo Leorc pickup here. Okay. So I'm waiting for that offlane from Lowered Expectations.
Victory for the
Oh.
Forsaken.
Interesting. So if I had to guess, I'm probably going to throw that Greymane up in the offlane into Leorc. I'm kind of excited to see how this one matches up. It's not very often that you see, you know, really an assassin in that offlane. There are a few that can do it, but you don't see it as often as just like your typical offlaners, or even maybe, you know, a tank on occasion thrown up in that off lane. This is quite a bit of squishies coming out from the side of lowered expectations here. I'm interested to see if that's going to pay off for them in the long run. They have quite a bit of health pools to get through between the Diablo, the Leoric, the Azmodan. So picking up that Greymane maybe is going to be, you know, a good thing for them here. Having that Cursed Bullet, just getting that big burst damage on those beefy targets down. Maybe go for more of a front to back fight. But let's go ahead, get into this game here. Game number 1 of this best of 5 between the Nerd Herders and Lowered Expectations for Division E West Coastal Finals. On the left-hand side, we have the Nerd Herders. Robbie Black will be on the Azmodan, Rusty playing Anduin, Arco on Diablo, Mosley on the Leoric, and me, Ding, on the Vala. Over on the right-hand side, it's Lowered Expectations. We have Malfrax on the Deckard, Spudmax playing Kael'thas, Dextor on the Sylvanas, Dingo on Joanna, and on that Greymane, we have the Funk. Looks like all the members of Nerd Herders are setting up for that mid lane. Maybe they can look to get that pick with the man advantage here, but the members of Lowered Expectations are just going to go ahead straight to the soak here. Actually, look at Sylvanas. She's going for the well here. And I don't think that anyone on Nerd Herders knows what's going on, or if they do, they have no sign of reacting or reacting in time here. That fountain's going to go down. Azmodan kind of maybe was peeking at it, but not enough time to actually rotate on. The thing is she going to be able to get out safely here? Oh, if that Fire Stomp was just a little bit closer to the bushes, they might have been able to get vision and dive onto her, but unfortunately, she's just going to be able to walk right on out of there, and a fountain is down for the side of the Nerd Herders. Dingo stepping up here with the Condemn, manages to get a nice 3-man Condemn. Might get a little bit of damage onto him for it, but it looks like they're returning the favor onto Diablo here as they continue the rotation between mid and bottom. We actually had the offlaners kind of head towards that mid, maybe pick up a little bit of soak here for the teams. We do have Lowered Expectations starting up that siege camp now, looking to get that out. Usually the way to play this is to get on those camps as soon as possible at the 1-minute mark, start something, whether it be the bottom one, that one's great because it's the neutral one, or your siege camp in the mid lanes, but we do see Lowered Expectations able to get their camp out now. Diablo in a little bit of trouble, coming down to that bottom camp, looking for maybe a little bit of backup from the players on that camp. It's still getting poked down. Sylvanas has gone Overwhelming Affliction at level 1, so she has that % damage picked up. That's why Arco, you know, you start to kind of see him getting chunked down a little bit by Sylv in that engage. Ding needs to be a bit careful here. Arco also still looking fairly low after that engage bottom. They're looking to get that mid-soak, clean up the camp. Meanwhile, the remaining members of Lowered Expectations clearing up the camp. Nerd Herders took bottom. Now, Arco is just like, I'm never backing. I don't need it back. It's never happening. He's going to hit that fountain. Mosley's rotated down, and we have the other members of Nerd Herders going ahead and starting up that Bruiser camp. Not bad timing here. Objective is coming up in about 30 seconds, so they're going to have this sent down top lane here during objective. It doesn't look like the members of Lowered Expectations are thinking of doing their camp here. In fact, they might be making the rotation onto Leo for the pick here, but Leo has a great escape tool called his Wraith Walk, so not the easiest rotation to get a pick onto. Mosley is going to be able to just back out there, hit the fountain, and be nice and healthy for this objective. Lowered Expectations going to start up that Bruiser camp now. A little bit late. This should give the members of Nerd Herders a bit of a head start on this objective, and they're going to go ahead and do that now. They have some pretty decent objective clear here between Azmodan and the Vala. She's gone Fire at Will at level 1, so that should clear up the minions pretty quickly. But you are relying on some pretty, some decent cooldown abilities to clear out those minions. Arco getting chunked down. Once again, that Overwhelming Affliction, it can start to hurt a little bit, and he's going to have to back off here. Asmo's going to continue to poke it out. Same with Vala. Currently 31-8 skeletal defenders, so they just need to get a couple more pokes on this objective to secure it. Mosley's getting stuck in that Deckard route, but using the Wraith Walk to avoid the stun there. Only 5 more minions here needed for Nerd Herders. Lowered Expectations are trying to do all they can to push them off the objective and get those minions themselves, but it's not a battle I think they're going to be able to win here. And there we go. First objective will be going over to the side of Nerd Herders. This first one, an Arcane Punisher. Quite a few members over on the side of Lowered Expectations. Low on mana, low on health here. Going to have to use that fountain. Joe baits the Punisher here. The rest of the members going to go ahead and work on clearing that up. It really shouldn't take them too long to kill these Punishers. Between a Sylvanas, a Greymane, and a Kael'thas here, you got a lot of damage to just kind of jump on it and shred it down. So we do have a stun onto the Joanna there. Does she have her Iron Skin up to get herself out of here? Looks like she's barely making it out. In fact, they're going to turn on them. Greymane goes in, gets the pick onto Diablo, and that's first blood for the side of Lowered Expectations. Dingo managing to survive through all of that. The root coming out there from Anduin to make sure Sylvanas doesn't try to engage further there. Camp's back up. Let's see if these teams are going to prioritize those right away, or if they're going to look for maybe a little bit more of a fight here. This is the nice thing. I see they've switched now. Greymane is in the 4-man. Sylva's gone top. The nice thing about that is Greymane can really shred through a camp pretty quickly here. So if they are, want to get on a camp and are worried about time, like doing that bottom neutral, there's always a chance of an invade. Greymane gets it done pretty quickly here. Now they're going to look for the invade onto Nerd Herders. Joanna already popping that Iron Skin. Arco getting shredded down already. Looking at the Kael'thas, but just not the damage they need to finish the kill. We have Sylvanas rotating down as well now, and that's going to make this a 5v4 in favor of Lowered Expectations. Can they find the picks, though? They're so close to finding those kills, but they just aren't quite able to finish anyone off here. Meeding stepping forward, getting more stacks on that Fire at Will, has finished off the level 1 quest already. Currently sitting at 30 stacks. You only need that 20 to finish off the quest. Leo, in the meantime, has got a nice little push going top. He didn't come down for the 5v4 there, obviously. He's doing a little bit of fort damage. I mean, all in all, right now, Nerd Herder's a bit better on the, getting that siege damage done. As you can see, structure-wise, mid's almost done from that first objective. Leo's got a little bit of damage in the front wall down on top fort. Gonna go ahead and chase that Sylvanas down. Look at this 5-man rotation onto Sylv. There's the Entomb. In goes Arco, and down goes Sylvanas. They're gonna make a play for this top fort while they're at it. I don't mind this. The thing is, though, Lowered Expectations. You've got a Greymane on your team. All they really have to do to answer a siege push is to siege themselves. And that's what they're gonna do, but they're a little bit slow here on that. Top fort goes down to the side of Nerd Herders. They're gonna make a play and try to do bottom fort. But they might just, I'm interested to see if Nerd Herders are going to rotate down here and stop them, or if they're just gonna, I think they're just gonna back off. Sylvanas is back up now. Objective spawning in the bottom lane this time around. Joanna coming in with a Condemn. Level 10's online for both teams. There's no talent tier advantages here at the moment. Velcomer is running late. He got caught up at work, but he's going to be joining me, hopefully for game 2. But for now, sorry guys, it's just me. I see Sylvanas coming a little bit late to this objective. She is getting out that bruiser camp right now. In the meantime, the rest of the players here set up for this next objective. This one is a frozen Punisher, so a little bit more push potential out of this one. Here's the Falling Sword coming out from Joanna. We have the Pyroblast going out onto Rusty here. He's going to go ahead and pop a heal onto himself and survive through that no problem. Light Bomb used there, but it does not connect onto anyone. Sylv finally joining the fight, but she's coming down here very low health. Pops a Wailing Arrow. Here comes the Entomb from Leoric, looking to try to secure a kill onto Dingo potentially here, and an Apocalypse to follow it up. They're going to get the pick onto Sylvanas, and down goes Joanna as well. We have Deckard turning around for the sleep to try and help with the disengage. It looks like the rest of them are going to be able to walk away here, and this objective likely going over to the side of Nerd Herders. Now, Sylv did get that bruiser camp top, so it's going to be pushing up there during this objective. We're going to see Leoric break off to go to start to clear that up. The rest of the members setting up for the defense on bottom. Greymaine's going to eat that Punisher jump and a ton of damage from the Asmodam orb, and Vala, I believe she shot a fire at will at him there as well to get him chunked. Frozen Punisher here, which really helps the side of Nerd Herders. They don't have a Sylvanas to shut down structures. Here comes the Falling Sword, giving Dexter the unstoppable. Just might be what he needed to avoid getting picked off here. And this Punisher is about to fall. Level 13 is now online for the side of Nerd Herders. Looks like they're going to make a play for this mid fort as well. Why not? It's so low, it's going to take a couple seconds for them to chunk that down and finish it off. Yeah, Velcomer is going... He's supposed to be casting with me right now. He just got held up at work, so he should be joining me for Game 2 and the rest of the series after, you know, Game 1. Hopefully. He should be home from work by then. We're going to see both these teams pick up those siege camps here. Bottom siege camp's still up, so there's a potential to see a little bit of a brawl happening down here in just a moment. Thing is, lowered expectations is down that talent tier, so a little bit more of a risk here for them to look for the engage. They're going to go for it anyways. Vala is missing right now from the side of Nerd Herders, so this is technically a 3v4 in their favor, even though they are down in that talent tier. Here's Vala now, though, to even out the fight. Meanwhile, Leoric and Sylv doing the soak and clearing those camps. I think Sylv realizes now not to go too far out in those lanes. She's been picked on before in this match, and she doesn't want to risk it again, so she's going to back up, go ahead and clear top near the safety of her walls. And that gave enough of a window here, that rotation, to potentially look for her, allowed lowered expectations to go for that bottom camp. There's the Apocalypse combo coming on. Kael'thas just absolutely decimated there. Leoric getting the kill there. There's a light bomb coming up, but unfortunately, the Iron Skin stops the stun. Fortunately, though, Leo with a beautiful Entomb once again. Mosley has just been on point with those Entombs. Malfrax getting the sneaky hearth behind the enemy teams here to keep himself alive. Looks like Nerd Herders just want more blood. As soon as they saw someone showing on the map, they started that rotation, but Sylv backed up here. They're going to go ahead, look at these bruisers, try and find that level 16. At this point, lowered expectations. They just kind of have to play this slow. Let these minions, you know, look at potentially doing things like freezing your lanes. Let these minions and XP come to you to the safety, under the safety of your own towers. So you're not getting caught out like this Joanna right now, having to use the Falling Sword to escape the Entomb damage here. They're actually looking for the pick on Leo. He is going to use his Wraith Walk and walk on out there, spreading a little bit of the bomb. They get the sleep onto Diablo, but he's woken up and able to just walk away here. Still a little over a level left till they get 16s themselves, and this next objective is going to be coming in about 15 seconds. They have a bruiser camp to worry about top. Their own bruiser camp could be picked up as well here, but they do need to be wary of an invade from the side of Nerd Herders. They have that 16 advantage. I'd be running at this bruiser camp if I was Nerd Herders. Mosley's running at this bruiser camp. He knows what's up. Looks like they're going to be able to pick it up anyways. Nerd Herders are prioritizing just getting a head start on objective instead. Still no 16s from the side of lowered expectations. I would have really... We'll see how this fight plays out. Maybe they'll turn it here. They do get the pick on Avala. They're still looking for more. Dexter's quite low. We have the Asmodam damage coming through, but not enough to find any picks. They're actually turning a fight pretty decently. Being down that level 16 is kind of impressive. I was going to say, I almost would have preferred with a Sylvanas, a Greymane, for them to just go siege on the opposite side of the map, but if they can win a fight down a talent tier, well, good on them. They do need to be careful. That Asmo poke is starting to really hurt. Mosley's coming back in here on the flank. Malfrax really low. Dexter really low. There's the light bomb coming out. Iron Skin used by Joanna to avoid the stun, though. And an Entomb landing onto Dexter. Out of mana, no way to get out of it. We have to stay a while and listen for the disengage, but the objective still goes over to the side of Nerd Herders. Good attempt by lowered expectations. I know they did more than I thought they could without their 16s, but Again, you know, usually you're down that talent here. Infernal Shrines, especially with the comp they have with the Sylvanas Greymane, that's some great siege potential. Maybe would have liked to see them just give this objective since they lost it anyways, and they could have maybe looked to secure a fort elsewhere on the map with that siege potential from the Greymane and Sylvanas. We are seeing them have to defend a Mortar Punisher here this time. Dingo stepping up, trying to create some space for his teammates. Got the Rain of Vengeance out from Vala. Curse of Bullet goes out there as well. Looks like this mid keep is going to fall in just a moment. Big jump out from this Punisher. Oh, Nerd Herders were a little bit more prepared. They probably could have wiped quite a few members there of Lowered Expectations, but fortunately for Lowered Expectations, they're going to be able to heal up now. They can maybe potentially look for a fight. They are on equal talent tiers. Now's the time they want to force something. Dingo's walking straight in here, gets the Rain of Vengeance on him, and Entomb comes out. Wait, he's entombing his own teammates. Drops the Entomb. Here comes the Pyro out from Kael'thas. Probably not enough. Yeah, definitely not enough damage to kill a Diablo now. To get the heal from Rusty. They're going to walk away quite chunked over on the side of Lowered Expectations. We're going to see Nerd Herders just continue to do the ring around the camps here and pick up everything on the map. Just paint it blue. I'd like to see Lowered Expectations look to force another fight before 20s are online. You know, wait. If you can wait for a couple more of your cooldowns to come up on those ultimates, Deckards, the Falling Sword potentially, and then that engage, because you wait any longer, you're going to have level 20s in the hands of Nerd Herders. Looks like Nerd Herders potentially looking for something on the rotation. They really just get to chill right now. They're in the position where, you know, they control the map. They have their periodic cannons coming down the lanes. They're a little ways off from 20. They don't need to try and fight or look for picks or do anything. They just wait for 20. That's it. And you know, kind of will be a little bit easier for them at that point. Bruiser Camp's gonna get picked up here. They're gonna stall on locking it in though, likely waiting for that countdown for next objective, which will be bottom once again. There we go. There's those level 20s hit now for Nerd Herders. Let's see what we're looking at. Lord of Terror picked up from Diablo. It's not one I usually see grabbed. Hellgate's a pretty popular one on him, so it's an interesting pickup. Bruiser Camp started here by Lowered Expectations. This is a great opportunity for Nerd Herders to potentially look for that level 20 talent tier advantage fight that they want, or, you know, just continue to take things off the map from Lowered Expectations for free here. It's not a fight you want to take on the side of Lowered Expectations at all, so this camp's going to go over to Nerd Herders. Now they can set up for this objective, while Lowered Expectation needs to worry about clearing out this top lane or losing a keep. Looking at Asmodan here at his baseline quest, getting very close to finishing off that level, or that baseline quest at 376 stacks of the 400 needed here. But you can already tell he's kind of chunking quite a bit off the health bars of Lowered Expectations without being finished yet. Did pick up the Pride at level 20, so he is essentially playing without a level 20 right now until he finishes that level or that baseline quest. But he just might have felt that he was so close to finishing it anyway. Oh, Dingo falling right down in the spot for Arco to look for the stun. Here comes the Entomb out as well. You got that buried alive on Leoric, putting out the silence. That's going to be Joanna getting picked off. You hate to see it. Now, with no other frontline on the side of Lowered Expectations, Greymane's going to have to eat the jump from the Punisher, losing about a quarter of his health there. Decker's trying to get him healed back up. Without a tank now, there's really nothing to create space for them to clear this Punisher. They're really open to an engage here from the Diablo. from Punisher jumps as well. As you can see, Greymane eating the jump once again and getting picked off by Vala. Punisher on core now. Shredding through this shield, another 24 seconds until Joanna is back up. It's a 3v5. The Punisher's going to jump onto Sylvanas, pop that unstoppable, stay alive for a moment longer, but this is not looking good for the members of Lowered Expectations. Core sitting at 40% and falling. Here comes the Pyro out from Kael'thas. Not enough to get that kill onto Arco, though, and in fact, here we go. Core goes down in game number 1 over to the side of Nerd Herders. GG's and well played. Hopefully here, let me see if Valkymer is all set to go and we can get him set up here in just a moment. But in the meantime, we'll take a look at this match summary. You know, for a Division E West game, very low deaths. There is very low deaths on both sides, 8-2. That's not too bad here. Now, if you guys didn't know, I did a tiny little bit of research, but Nerd Herders haven't dropped a single game this entire season. So definitely a challenge here tonight for Lowered Expectations, potentially looking to take the first map ever this entire season off of Nerd Herders in tonight's series. Taking a peek over here at the talents. Usually, I feel like when I see a Vala go fire at will, they pick up the strafe at 10. But instead here, opting for extra CC. I think she probably would have been safe to go strafe. You have a lot of things you can potentially combo with it. You know, the Entomb, the Apocalypse lockdown, the Light Bomb lockdown, that a strafe all on top of it would have found maybe a little bit more kills. But either way, you know, it worked for the team. They walked away with a win here. So just looking, there was a Wailing Arrow and then a Joanna Falling Sword or maybe a Condemn that would have interrupted, not, I guess, a stale while. You watch your positioning, you kind of wait for some of those cooldowns to come out, or and you maybe could have got away with some pretty nasty strafes in those fights, but either way, the Rain of Vengeance also found some nice stuns on occasion and potentially set up for some decent entombs as well. Anything else that's super sticking out to me? I think the Pyroblast was an interesting pickup from Kael'thas. You have a lot of really beefy targets over on the side of Nerd Herders, which you're maybe not going to get the value you want out of a Pyroblast. In addition to that, the squishies that you're looking at, you know, you're looking at Vala, who did pick up Gloom at 13, so she has that spell armor option, and Anduin seemed to have been putting in work in terms of getting those heals out to keep those Pyroblast targets alive when it did come out. So maybe could have seen a little bit better potential out of a Phoenix from Kael'thas. Maybe helped a little bit more with zoning at the objective and just kind of putting out some damage at objective as well, or even potentially for defenses as well when they're getting under those keeps and forts. We're going to see if Valkymer is ready to go. I think they have the next lobby up. So let me jump on over to myself here. I'm going to join that lobby, and hopefully we can get Valk up in just a moment. I'm going to give him a call, see if he answers. Hopefully he's here this time. Okay, he's going to be here in a moment. So I apologize for the delay. In the meantime, let me go ahead and update the score and map overlay here, and we'll give you a rundown of where we're going for game number 2 in just a moment. All right, let's pop over to the maps here. So tonight, so far, here's what we've had happen. The coin toss was won by Nerd Herders. They opted for first pick. Lowered expectations getting that map pick. Map bans this evening. Braxis and Volskaya banned out by Nerd Herders. Sky Temple and Towers of Doom banned out by Lowered Expectations. We kicked things off on Infernal Shrines. That was a map pick from Lowered Expectations. Let me update that score. I missed doing that real quick. Nerd Herders took game 1 here. Going into game 2, Lowered Expectations have gone with first pick after losing game 1, and given map pick to Nerd Herders, who are bringing us to Tomb of the Spider Queen. I like their map picks tonight. I think like Infernal Shrines, Tomb of the Spider Queen are just like really balanced standard maps to see teams play. You can kind of see how good they are getting the rotations in at soaking between like, you know, mid and bottom on Infernal, mid and top on Tomb. All right, I think we have Velcomer here now. Okay, hang on, he's muted, but he's here.
I am here. I'm covering up the name on my company polo while I'm into the game.
Okay, I won't show your camera just yet then.
Oh, you're good. I was going to turn off the camera once the draft started and switch into my more appropriate attire.
Okay, here, I'll pop on over to us now then. I got you up on stream and you can say hello to everybody watching this evening. Velcomer's finally made it. Glad to have you here.
I am here. Just nobody pay attention to my company polo. I will change that momentarily. Unfortunately, the person who was actually closing at work, bit of a joker, ditched me at work, so I had to lock up. And I apologize for being so late.
That's okay. We're glad you showed up. It's I haven't solo casted in a while, but I think I managed to hobble my way through that one. So I'm glad to have you here.
You did very well. Very well, I'm sure.
So
okay.
We're getting ready to go into game 2 here. Nerd Herders took game 1. Now we're headed to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Velk, I have a feeling you're a little bit more familiar with these players than I potentially am. Do you have any ideas of what we could be seeing on a Tomb game?
So for the side of Nerd Herders, they have had a lot of flexibility in their draft. A lot of these players played in Division E last season, but for different squads. They came together as Nerd Herders for this season, and they have been on an absolute tear, proving that they want to be in the next division up next season.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that given the chance, they're going to put priority on both the Vala and the Johanna. If those are taken away from them, it's not all that they've got. I think you could easily see a Mei, perhaps a Li Ming, but they've definitely shown some priority there, and both their tank and their healer has shown a lot of depths, but the ferocity from, I think it's Mei Ding, is the damage player who's been that Vala so many games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it has switched over to the Li Ming also in games. Let's see, I am going to say hello so that you can find me in game. That's me. Perfect. And so I think that they absolutely have some great power. Call it the eternal sportist in me, but I would love to see this go to a game 5, and I think that if anybody's going to do it, despite the name that means I shouldn't put this expectation on them, I do think that Lowered Expectations has a chance against this very dominant Nerd Herder team.
Mm-hmm. I mean, all in all, it'd be exciting to even see them take one game, because Nerd Herders have yet to drop a single match this entire season. So
correct.
Regardless of if we get to game 5 or not, even for them to get one game would make this an exciting series. When you have some of these dominant teams making it all the way to the finals, it's nice to get a little bit of a challenge in there. You hate to see it just end on a 3-0. So of course we're all kind of cheering for Lowered Expectations as the underdog to take a map or two and make this a little bit longer of a drawn out series.
Yeah, I'm absolutely excited for Nerd Herders and all that they have shown this season. They absolutely have something to prove, and that is they want to prove moving forward that they are meant to be in this grand finals, and they want to keep that unblemished record, absolutely. But for the the game in me, I would love to see this go to a game 5. I I had this brought up before. I believe these two teams actually played. Nobody pay attention to my company logo. I'll block
Oh,
it with my
you're
phone
not
for a
showing
moment.
anymore. We're on the draft screen. It's all good.
Ah, perfect. I think the last time they met, they they didn't go to this because it was banned. So I'm trying to double check that.
Now, we've seen the Alarak ban twice
Yes.
tonight. Do you know who on the side of lowered expectations has a threatening enough Alarak to warrant a first ban? Both games?
Ooh. My immediate guess would say that it is. Oh, I was gonna say I don't even see him, but now I see Spudmax. But I'm gonna double check that with my handy dandy cellular device that is on Hero's profile right now.
We've seen the Diablo Asmodean ban out from lowered expectations, and they're sticking with the same bans as last game so far on the side of Nerd Herders. They're getting rid of the Stukov next.
For the Nexus.
Wow. So last time they met, lowered expectations took the Vala when they had the opportunity as kind of that third ban against Nerd Herders. And so I'm intrigued with the Orphea, I think, and there we see the Johanna coming out. But I wonder if Orphea could have made it later in the draft. The Funk definitely played Malthael in their last round.
We actually saw Malthael banned out in game number 1 as the third ban over on the side of Nerd Herders.
So if they want it, they had to take it now, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They're thinking on the side of lowered expectations. Interesting that Vala is still up and on the board here, because you were saying Nerd Herders have kind of put a priority on her in a lot of their games here, but she's not getting picked up in the first lock-in phase here. And in fact, we're into the second bans. I'm curious to see if she's going to make it through, or they're going to get rid of her now.
Yeah, I've got to think she is going to be the ban here. If it's not, the only other one I would think is perhaps that Ming, just from previous priorities on it.
I'm really curious to see what lowered expectations is going to pick to round out their draft here, because my one thing with a variant comp is you have a great tool to engage and get a pick if your team's coordinated enough, but he doesn't really provide that much disengage or peel for his team. So if you're not getting that pick, you're kind of like, you know, showing your hand, putting all your cards down on the table, and then you don't really have anything else after that taunt combo comes out.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what healer they're going to pair with this now. Stukov, of course, is one of the classic pairings because the range.
I would like
gives you.
I'd like an Anna maybe. And she's not like typically picked, but if you're going to pick her, you want to last pick her, so you're not really showing that you want her. Then you go with the Malfurion. The reason I was thinking the reason I was thinking the Anna is you have some great nano boost targets. A sleep and a grenade to give the reduction in armor sets up Varian for taunts. You just have that, you know, the staggered CC to potentially get those kills, and it could work out. But Melf, a little bit more standard. We see him a lot more often these days.
What I am hoping for, now that we see the draft of lowered expectations, is temporal loop. Now, I get it. The power of slowing sands is so good that HGC analysts even said they would pick it if Chromie did no damage otherwise. That's how much they wanted that 70% slowing field. But the idea of, if I loop Anduin can't save Anduin, and I've got Malfurion Sleepy Roots under it. I've got a big combo coming out of Orphea and Chromie. I even have Varian there. So That's what I'm hoping for. But then it's the idea of, okay, is Joanna going to take Falling Sword and just ruin all of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do have that potential for the Falling Sword Light Bomb combo here. I'm not going to be surprised if we see it. We did see Light Bomb last game. The Joanna was played by Lowered Expectations. She did take Falling Sword. That doesn't mean that we're going to see it from the side of Nerd Herders.
So last time when they met, it was Sky Temple that they brought out the Johanna Anduin. I am scrolling to see what I can find out here. And come on, builds. Let's see. It was Blessed Shield. So they may not have that saved. Now perhaps Arco flexes into it, but we'll see.
You know, the thing I think a lot of people, when they think about Falling Sword, they think about the stun and the combo potential with Falling Sword, but you also need to consider the unstoppable it gives your team. You know, you're looking at potentially a temporal loop from Chromie, potentially taunts from Varian, the roots from a Malfurion. Could be not a bad idea to pick up the Falling Sword just to be able to cleanse your team in a tough spot here. But let's go ahead, we'll introduce these teams. On the left-hand side, we have the Nerd Herders. Moxley will be playing Ragnaros, Meeding on the Cassia, Robbie Black on Sylvanas, Arco on Joanna, and Rusty once again on that Anduin.
And for our red side of Lowered Expectations, we have the Funk on Malthael, Dingo playing Varian, Malfrex on Malfurion. This is going to be the hardest one to say, but it's the Dexter?
I've been saying Dexter.
Okay, I think Dexter's right. Dexter on the Orphea, and finally Spudmax bringing up the rear because of the long range of Chromie abilities on that Chromie.
I'm interested to see if they're going to make a double mage work. I think, you know, running a double mage with a taunt Varian, maybe not the worst thing, because you're almost guaranteed the kill off of all that burst damage that you have. But we'll have to see here. I mean, look at, they just chunked that Joanna right down.
And they had somebody soaking top. I missed if it was Orphea or Malfurion, and so they were ahead there. I would assume it's Orphea. And one thing that's interesting to me so far is Orphea's level 1 going for on point, which is just this incredibly skill cap high, I should say, talent. And so going into that Q build, boy does it offer a lot of damage, boy does it offer a lot of resets and mobility. Mm-hmm. I'm not ready to play it, but again, I'm a tank player, not an assassin, and so if they have the reps on this, man, can that put in some work.
See Malthael come up, catch a little bit of soak here for his team with that wave crashing. He had that bottom lane pushed out fairly well into Rag and seems to be holding his own down there. Usually, you know, at this point, teams are kind of starting to think about doing those camps. You know, maybe sneak someone off of the 4-man to go do that bottom siege giant camp, or potentially send a couple players to get out that bruiser camp. Right now,
I'm actually curious if maybe you put Chromie in the bottom lane and send Malthael to do that. But the 4-man rotation certainly staying strong top. Ragnaros taking a lot of damage in the bottom lane. That may be exactly why we've seen that Malthael banned out.
Mm-hmm. Seems to be a comfort pick. We are going to see the taunt come out. They're looking at the Sylvanas, and they find her. That's first blood over to the side of Lowered Expectations. Looks like they're going to continue on with a soak between mid and top Varian, keeping an eye on this rotation, potentially looking to see if he can find someone else. Does have his taunt coming back up right now. Looking at the Joanna, the sleep comes out, the taunt comes out, and they get another pick. Maybe this is what they need. The double mage taunt comp with the Varian on Lowered Expectations seems to be working out fairly well for them in the early game. I will say this is where their comp is really going to shine right now, though. The Varian and with their taunts and no ultimates on the side of Nerd Herders yet. This is where we can really see them start to get a lot of work done, this pre-10 part of the game.
And they just got another kill on the Cassia. Anduin's Leap of Faith is still 20 seconds out. Our blue team of Nerd Herders needs to respect that combo.
I'm interested to see whether this is going to work just as well for them once level 10s are reached. Since you have your level 10s, you have a little bit more opportunity to save people's lives here. The Anduin Light Bomb, or maybe even the Holy Word Salvation. You have the Joanna potentially picking up a Falling Sword, giving the teammates unstoppable. But for now, it's looking pretty strong for lowered expectations.
Yeah, I like the two audibles they've called here. One, they were going to rotate down and try to catch that rag and open up the bottom lane even more. But then two, once they saw the Molten Core, they came back up to mid and sieged there, knowing that they weren't going to burn through enough with that Ragnaros free long distance damage.
Still have those giants to get finished cleaning up here in the bottom. Mosley, by the way, going with the Blast Wave build on Ragnaros, so he's not stacking anything.
Yeah, it's what I play in Ragnaros. I like to go Lava Wave. I think it has great potential to allow you to now fight in another lane. Sure, you don't have a heroic for damage, but the other team has to worry about that lane that you just pushed out so extremely, and you may get a 4.5, we'll call it, on 4 because they send someone for cleanup duty.
I think there could be an argument here for him to potentially have gone with the meatball build.
Smash.
No, the meatball build
see,
to get the
sorry.
spell armor. You have so many long range spell damage dealers over on the side of the Lowered Expectations, the Chromie, the Orphea, even Malthael, potentially just to negate some of that damage with your spell armor. Might not have been a bad decision for the Ragnaros, but it is sometimes, playing Rag with his different builds completely changes how you play him, if you know what I mean. Some heroes you can go different builds and you're still essentially kind of playing them the same way. Rag turns like you go meatball build and now you're kind of more of like a range damage with that ability and more focused on that instead of getting in there and trying to brawl with your blast waves and your Q.
Yeah, he is not particularly tanky as a bruiser. You can't. Ooh, speaking of.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see if they will take cauterized wounds as a way to potentially deal with that, but I don't actually know if the stun protection of cauterized wounds will do enough.
So here's the thing, level 10's online here. We have the taunt coming out onto Sylvanas. Orphea trying to close that distance there to get the kill with the Leap of Faith out from Rusty, going to keep Robbie Black alive. Level 10's here for the defense. So, level 10's coming online shortly here for Nerd Herders, but the question is, are they going to be able to find those 10s in time to get any value out of these spiders? We're already seeing mid get pretty well cleared up, and we're going to see a rotation into top lane immediately after. The Funk eating a little bit of that wave off of the Spider Queen, or the Spider, I should say, in top lane.
The dangerous rotation, getting punished a little bit there.
This is a 5v4 up here in the top lane. Here comes the lava wave from Rag. A couple members going to eat a bit of damage off that. Light Bomb coming out, connecting onto Varian. We have that slowing stance out from Chromie. It's going to keep Joanna kind of stuck in position for a bit, but she's going to use her Falling Sword to try and disengage, get out of there, and get that slow off of her. Not a bad defense in that top lane, considering level 10s were picked up here for Nerd Herders. They don't manage to get the fort, but they do manage to get the front walls. Meanwhile, the Funk struggling a little bit in that bottom lane. That fort very close to going down. You see a little bit more of a fight breaking out here. They're not over yet. They're getting that Joanna kill. Malfurion's going to pop the heal here, try to keep his team alive, see if they can go for the turn-in. They do have enough gems on the side of Lowered Expectations.
I loved the tranquility there. It was almost a little bit of a bait, like keep chasing me, and Malfurion's just, holy healy nature guy there, and everyone on the team stayed up, and unfortunately Joanna, Iron Skin doesn't last forever, and without it, it's a scary world to be in.
To create a little bit of space here for Malthael to get his gems turned in, but it doesn't look like Rag has any want to try and contest that turn in there by himself with where the members of Lowered Expectations are. So this is going to be the second spider phase here for Lowered Expectations. Looks like Nerd Herders want to try and go for the engage before these spiders come down, but they aren't able to find it.
Which I think was absolutely the right call to make. Try to find something before you're fighting to clear these lanes too. And close.
It's it can be a risky play, but as long as you know you have the numbers advantage, you know, it's not a bad call to make. If you can find the kills, then you get free clear. But if you end up being killed, then there's a lot more for your enemies to be gaining an advantage off of these spiders here. Dingo's going in. Here's the taunt. We have the crushing jaws coming out from Morpheus. Flowing Sands used as well, but the leap of faith pulling Me Ding to safety. The root underneath all of that, trying to do everything they could to secure those kills. Got a few seconds here before that taunt is back online. This top fort still looking pretty healthy. In goes Varian, looking at Me Ding once again, and Orphea is going to get the double kill off of that Q, taking out Cassia and Joanna, and now eyeing this top fort as well.
Yeah, the extra 90% Q damage there was just such a chunk at the edge of that taunt, and for Johanna, it wasn't getting taunted, it was just wrong place, wrong time. But, oh, did that hurt.
Mosley needs to be careful down in that bottom lane. He is holding the majority of Nerd Herder's gems right now. I mean, I gotta say, lowered expectations, I think, are exceeding my expectations right now. They're looking at...
That's the trick of the name, right?
Yeah.
They want you to come in with just like, hey, you know, if we don't want to match, the other team was really good. But if they keep playing like they have been these first... I mean, look at the kill count, 0 to 7. This is going to be an exciting match. Again, I'm hoping for game 5, but I'm the caster.
There's a Falling Sword Light Bomb combo connecting onto 3 members of Lowered Expectations. We're going to see the ball lightning coming out on top of that as well. Malfurion popping his ultimate to try and keep his teammates alive, but not enough to keep Orphea around. They do get the kill here. Teams fighting, by the way, in the Bruiser camp here to give spell armor, so not ideal places to fight, but I guess if you both have spell armor, it's on equal ground. So Me Ding getting quite low here. Varian doesn't want to let her walk away. She pops that Surge of Light to get a little bit of damage out onto Varian, and that might have been the turning point there for their team to go all in, getting the picks onto Varian and Malthael, but in return, they do lose Joanna.
We've been seeing big subdue value a couple of times. Right there after the Falling Sword, they were able to condemn and subdue, and that's what stopped the Chromie and the Malfurion from being able to split. So Lightning Bouncy Ball just kept getting passed back and forth. And we saw that once before. Now, it may have been a caster curse coming from me because I just said it was 0 to 7 in kills. But now it's still 3 to 8, but we have that blue web weaver phase coming in.
They do need to be careful setting around this top fort for clear. If the members of Nerd Herders get this down, I'm pretty sure Mosley is sitting ready to use the Molten Core.
Lava Wave just went through bottom, so that is going to set up that Web Weaver to finish off that fort and perhaps draw somebody away.
Shout out to Mosley too for making sure he's saving those lava waves when there's at least 2 waves of minions to eat it up. If you're playing Reg and you're taking lava away, a good little trick is to watch when your minions are spawning at the court, because that's when the enemy's minions are spawning too, and you'll know that your lava wave is going to take out minion wave that's like hitting mid right now and the minion wave that's just spawning, just to get that little bit more value out of it.
For starters, everyone can know it's the 15 and the 45 mark that your minions are going to spawn. Now, the optimal for when they're going to hit, maybe you wait a little bit more, but that 15 and 45, you'll be able to get just a little bit more value out of those waves, and it's better to go a couple seconds late than a couple seconds early. Oh, 2 forts off of this Web Weaver phase.
Alright, all in all, not a bad defense though. Top fort was already a bit damaged. Bottom fort was basically dead before these Web Weavers even spawned in. So they're kind of holding their own, except XP gap has closed here. Pretty even now on experience. We are going to see the Iron Skin used on Joanna. Root connecting onto Varian. A little bit split over on the side of lowered expectations here. Melthiel soaking that top, or that mid lane. Just looking to push through. In goes Varian. He did pick up the Shattering Throw, by the way, at 13, so he does have that just point and click, get rid of those shields on Joanna, which makes her a kill target at this point. There's the taunt out onto the... He just deleted there, not even enough time to say his name.
Right there. Yeah, and Varian going for the more defensive 16. He's already got a ton of burst damage. I wonder if the spell damage would have gotten value or not, but the ability to help Malfurion's heals have more time with that 20 armor, I think could provide a lot of value.
I like the armor pickup here. Into Sylvanas Cassia, you have that auto attack damage. The armor can probably find some decent value being dropped in a team fight. I don't think, you're looking at the amount of burst that's coming out without even the extra spell damage. I don't think you need it. It's just overkill.
Right. That's why I think you help Malfurion with that 20 armor and keep your team up that much longer.
Here's the Molten Core coming out from Ragnaros. So Spider pushes in through top lane.
Yeah, I'm okay with just moving away from the Ragnaros Molten Core here. Now, he just sent Lava Wave through mid, so that's going to be tough, but can you pick up this kill with a Shattering Throw? Ooh, Johanna makes it out. She is one tanky lady.
Here's the Light Bomb Falling Sword coming out. Does it connect? It looks like Chromie might be in a world of hurt here, and she goes down. Crushing Jaws coming out from the Orphea. Looking to try and return the kills here. Damage potentially. Malfurion's going to have to pop the ultimate to try and keep his team alive. Orphea needs to get that self-sustain off. She does manage to find that auto, get her a little bit of health back. She's doing a decent job at poking down some of the members of Nerd Herders, but they aren't able to find that return kill. Malthael tried to get a bit of value out of bottom Spider, but really nothing really picked up for them here. They already... basically left the map in the same state. Top wall of keep went down.
Dingo.
That's about it.
Oh, Dingo bottom. Man, he was out far forward as that Varian. Now, I do want to say one thing about that last getaway. Malfrix, when you come back and watch this, the route you just put down in that escape is what allowed your team to survive instead of just getting chased down, even with your heals. So
Dingo?
fantastic route placement.
Oh, Dingo wants to fight so badly, but his team's not anywhere around there. Chromie, in fact, is just spawning in now, and he's going to go down a little bit, maybe feeling a little bit too confident that he could survive through all of that, but, Nerd Herders can be just as bursty with the Sylv and Cassia here.
Yeah, and even when Meteor from Ragnaros and you can put the lava, or the what do they call it? Blast Wave.
The Blast
Lava
Wave,
Bird.
yeah.
You can put that on your front line, not just yourself. And so send it out there for just that itty bitty more damage. A Resilient Flame. I called it Cauterize instead, but Resilient Flame gives Ragnaros the 40 armor.
We do have 20s hit almost at exactly the same time for these teams. There's still a boss up on this map. Nobody's tried to do it yet. We're going to see the members of Nerd Herders go and check just to make sure that lowered expectations weren't trying to sneak it in there. Would have been a little bit difficult for them without the Variant potentially and kind of lacking a bit of front line to do a boss. That would have been a big risk.
Absolutely a big risk. I like the safer play. They have
don't face check.
20s.
Malthael's going to get picked off pretty quickly there. We have the Tranquility out from Malfurion trying to heal up his team. Dexter on the flank here trying to get some damage out onto the Sylvanas, but the team is just going to fall here. 3 members down. Malthael using his level 20 to come back to life here, but with 3 down, there's not really much he can do being back up on the map. Clear top, and that's about it. We're going to see Nerd Herders make a push here for mid-keep, using that Sylvanas trait to shut down structures.
I do think that lowered expectations gets another shot in this. I think with having the keep walls up, without having the web weavers, there's a chance. Just stay alive, keep clearing, be safe in your engages, and we're gonna see one more fight.
I don't know. 25 seconds is a lot of time if they just all in on this core. We're going to see Moxley jump into Molten Core form, which I believe actually does less damage than if he were just to stay out of it. Falling Sword comes out from the Johanna. Malthael getting locked down here and picked off. Orphea doing all she can to get them off the core here. Another 10 seconds till all the members are back up on the side of lowered expectations. The core is currently sitting at 70% and falling quite quickly. Crushing Jaws comes out, but it does not connect. Dexter doing what he can to kind of sustain into this fight. This is going down. This is going to be game number 2 here over to the side of Nerd Herders. But lowered expectations, man, they put on a good show and put in some good work this game. They were looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think that unfortunately we had that face check, right, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't that the face check ended the game, it was the trying to rescue the face check that ended the game. But the trap was sprung by nerd herders. We saw big resets from falling sword and from infinite lightning with Cassia, and so they just that kept going,
Mm-hmm.
and there was just so much damage that it's very difficult for Malfurion to heal through everything that was coming. And unfortunately, with three members, really four, and then that fourth one dying again defending the core, it was too much.
Yeah,
So
potentially there could have been a situation where Melthiel face checked the bush, but he has no one can stop death. The rest of the teams just back off and say, okay, we know he's coming back up. We just regroup and we try again. But unfortunately, what happened there is he died, and then it just started a snowball. The rest of the team getting caught up in the engage there. So, GG's to nerd herders. Let's take a look at these talents here. Velcomer, is there anything that's like super sticking out to you as that was a good pickup or that was unusual?
I
Or
I definitely thought the Q build from Orphea exceeded expectations. Yeah, I get it. It's hard to find another word for me right now. Um, Vigilance I thought was a little bit interesting just because the auto attack speed isn't quite enough to get enough resets on that, in my opinion, and I would have loved to have seen more banners. But I think that Vigilance absolutely has a place, and had that last fight been a little more controlled or delayed, I think we would have seen that be able to snowball as Varian once. Um, but I think that the teams both played it really well. I think that the trap that nerd herders laid and then sprung won them this match when otherwise they were they were sitting in a tough spot.
mm-hmm.
Other so but it's tough. You want to win, you want to play make, and unfortunately sometimes those bushes are not your friends.
I mean, all in all, considering going into the series, Nerd Herders has not dropped a single map this entire season. Lowered expectations are really giving them a run for their money here. These games are not stomps by any means. I mean, they've been close matches, close in XP most of the time, close in structures. That time, Lowered Expectations was even, I would say dominating in the early game and started to struggle. That was my worry when looking at their draft, that it would be like that pre-10, they're going to really stomp, but how are they going to perform after 10? A little bit more difficult to get away with what they're running. But I mean, great show. We're gonna get ready to get into game number 3 here, so we'll pop back on over to Velcomer and I as we get into the lobby here.
I have still not changed out of my company polo because that match was just too good to split from, and I already made Jazzy catch past one whole match without me, or one whole map without me, so I didn't want to ditch her again.
Let me go ahead and update this map overlay for you guys, and we can give you a rundown of where we're going for game number 3 of our best of 5 series here. This is the Coastal Finals for Division E West this evening, so it's a best of 5. Most of these games are best of 3s all season long, but not tonight. Tonight's the finals. Tonight's the be-all and end-all for these teams here. I mean, I guess if you win, you get to go to the division finals. You get another gauntlet. But
E West Coastal Finals that feeds into the Division E Grand Finals. But well done by both teams. I have plenty of good to say about how each team played. Absolutely, with Nerd Herders there at the end, they saw a win and they went for it. They got the kill that they needed, and they finished the game. If one more member, if only 2 had died instead of 3 for that final push, I think they would have hung on. But it was they absolutely, with Nerd Herders, saw the opportunity and dove in.
Let's take a look at this map, where we're going here. Game number 1 was on Infernal Shrines. Nerd Herders taking that one. We went to Tomb of the Spider Queen for game number 2. Very close game, but ended up going over to the side of Nerd Herders once again. Now, here's the big question. Are Nerd Herders going to go undefeated in their division this season? Is this it? Is this where they just completely wipe the entire division, or is Lowered Expectations going to finally take a map off them? Let's find out here as we jump into the draft.
So the question there is, are you asking with my heart or my wallet?
We all want to see Lowered Expectations take a map off them. We want a longer series.
Yeah, my heart absolutely says we're going to go to the closest Game 5 series Nexus Gaming Series has ever seen. My wallet says if you want the safe bet, you would put money on Nerd Herders. Now, I'm not a gambler, so you're all going to have to forgive me for that. But they're firing well. They were resilient in that last game. They stayed in until they could catch up on experience without having the map snowball away from them, and then they made it happen. So I absolutely think that they have all the ability to close out this series. That being said, I don't think we count out the side of Lowered Expectations. I think they showed some fantastic potential that game. I think that they executed well. Unfortunately, it's inches that sometimes separate us from getting a gold and a silver medal, and there's just a couple things to clean up. If they clean those up, that was their game, and I could see them making that shift between Tomb of the Spider Queen and Dragonshire, and I'd love to see them execute at that level and get a win right now.
They're going to take that Anduin, which is a decent pickup for Lowered Expectations, because Nerd Herders have been prioritizing Anduin. They picked him first pick on Infernal Shrines. In Tomb of the Spider Queen, they had the second, third picks of the 10 picks here, and they grabbed him then as well. So a bit of a denial here on the healer pickup for Lowered Expectations. Also shuts down some of the combos they were running. Falling Sword, Light Bomb, not on the table anymore. Anything else that pairs with the Light Bomb, not on the table for Nerd Herders here. Now Lowered Expectations can be looking to set up some kind of synergy with that Light Bomb, whether it be, an Anub, the Joanna is still up. It's going to be the May.
Is worth fighting for.
Hey, you can icing in with a Light Bomb, why not?
Absolutely, and there's still some neat combos to be had with it for the side of Lowered Expectations. But one thing that's scary, that's staring at us from underneath that red cowl, is the Vala pickup on the side of Nerd Herders. It has been one of the most banned heroes against the team all season long. So I'm excited that we get to see it, and I want to see what plans Lowered Expectations has in order to combat it. I
will say, though, usually a fan of Brightwing in general, but to pair with Vala, not the best healer for Vala. You're looking at, Vala really wants to kind of be in there, getting her sustained damage out the entire time. Brightwing doesn't really, keep her up and in there, unfortunately. So not necessarily the best pairing together, although I do like an early Brightwing pickup because it doesn't really give away a lot of what your comp's potentially looking at.
Well, and the Brightwing, knowing that the other team has a propensity for Malthael, can be a huge playmaker. Malthael comes in, and you just shut him off for a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But your biggest heal on Brightwing, Phase Shift, doesn't help Vala. It's percentage of max health, and Vala has one of the smallest health pools out there.
We've already seen them run, Vala Asmodan in game number 1. They have to switch out the healer and tank this time around. Okay. I was kind of hoping, I kind of hope Lowered Expectations comes in here with something a little bit unexpected to kind of throw Nerd Herders off the game. They did it last time with the taunt double mage. This time around, they're picking up Kerrigan and Melthiel, so they have they're looking to dive. They want to get in there. They have Light Bomb to throw on Kerrigan to get in there. They have Light Bomb to throw on Melthiel if he wants to get in there. And May to just get in there and put even more slow CC on the team and hopefully enough damage for Chromie to follow up here.
Well, and if Malthael gets ahead of, I guess it's Phoenix in the off lane now,
Yeah, I would think so.
then Kerrigan can absolutely rule the Bermuda Triangle with her combos that she can put out and the burst damage that she can put out.
I'm really interested to see how Lowered Expectations is going to synergize going into this game, because if they can be on point with the Kerrigan combos, the Chromie damage follow up, even the Maid follow up, you land a Kerrigan combo, you have that stun, follow it up with the Anduin root because they're already nicely placed for you. They're locked down even longer. Chromie has a ton of time to dump her abilities on top of it. May has a ton of time to drop her Blizzard and lock them down even further with slows and then a root to follow it up. It could really, really work well here, but it requires definitely synergy and execution from the side of Lowered Expectations.
I would say that for ease of execution, I think that there's some easier heroes on the side of Nerd Herders.
Prepare for combat.
I think there's plenty of power on both teams, but there's a certain amount of ease that comes from, hey, Asmodan can do a bunch of his damage from really far away.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I'd have to agree. I have a little bit
passive.
A little bit higher skilled heroes picked up with the Kerrigan locked in over there. Let's go ahead and introduce these teams. On the left-hand side, we have the Nerd Herders up 2-0 in the series. Rusty on Brightwing, Robbie Black playing Asmodan, Mosley on the Phoenix, Miding on Vala, and Arco on Joanna.
And for our red team of Lowered Expectations, the Funk reprising his role, or their role as Malthael, Dingo moving over to the May, Spudmax on the Chromie, Dexter on the Kerrigan, and Malflex bringing in the Anduin.
Level 1 here looking at Chromie. She's picked up once again the first time here, so looking to get stacks on her Sandblast. Already going in for that engage. Phoenix looking like he's going to fall here, and that's going to be first blood over to Lowered Expectations.
So if anybody who knows me well knows that I hate Phoenix. So anytime a Phoenix dies, an angel gets its wings. So well done on that execution for Lowered Expectations.
You know, too, if you're going to pick off one hero on the side of Nerd Herders, the Phoenix was the great pick. Oh, Kerrigan in a world of hurt here. That leap of faith not going to be able to save her. She's going to go down. But I was going to say, if you're going to pick off one hero, the Phoenix was the great pick because he's their offlaner. Melthiel just got a ton of soak uncontested in that top lane and pushed up onto the wall here. You can see he already got a bit of damage on the front wall and top fort.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. If there's anyone that you can kill, you want it to be the offlaner.
We have those Siege Giants up. Typically, teams like to look at those right at the 1 minute mark on Dragonshire. Neither of these teams have started to do them yet. For now, it's going to be a 4v3 in favor of Nerd Herders in the bottom here as Kerrigan catches mid-soak for her team. Now, Malthiel picked up Fear the Reaper at level 1, not on a Pale Horse. So, typically on this map, sometimes you see the Malthiel double soak between mid and bottom, but without the Fear the Reaper, he's not going to have that extra little bit of move speed to get him between the lanes fast enough. So we're probably going to see someone break off from the 4-man to catch mid-soak frequently.
And I like here, looking at the top lane a bit, the Funk is playing very safe into the Phoenix, knowing that the range of Phoenix versus the non-range of Malthael is pretty scary.
We're going to
see the camp pick up bottom right for Lowered Expectations.
And for now, Nerd Herders is holding on to that bottom point here, ensuring that Dragon Knight cannot be channeled by Lowered Expectations quite yet. We're going to see May drop that Blizzard in the bush here. Check it out. Not able to catch anyone on the route, and the rest of her team now, Kerrigan joining the fight down here. And in fact, this is a 4v3 in their favor, as well as catching mid-soak. There's a Kerrigan combo coming out onto Amsterdam. We have the phase shift out from Rusty. It's not going to be interrupted, and he's going to get a nice heal out onto Asmo here. Meanwhile, in the top lane, missing it off screen, Mosley getting the kill onto the Malthiel and now securing top point for their team.
Lowered Expectations needs to be careful here with that extra person in the bottom lane. Kerrigan's picking up the soak, but you don't need a Vala shooting your whole team down.
You also have May and Chromie running quite low on mana here. Kerrigan's going to hang out mid, but she needs to watch out for like a 3-4 man rotation potentially to mid if she's going to sit around to try for the defense. Looks like for now, Brightwing's going to catch that soak. They're not really looking like they're trying to force this DK for the time being. And Kerrigan thinking about that gank onto the Phoenix top. And now heading back down mid to ensure there is no pickup on that DK. They get the combo onto Brightwing. She's looking like she... Ooh, so close. You know, one more Q there and she potentially goes down, but it just wasn't in the cards there. And Rusty's going to be able to get behind that wall and start the Hearth back. Meanwhile, Joanna trying to hold that bottom point. Phase shift is coming in. I'm sure Rusty was saying, just hold on. I'll be there in a minute. The rest of the team's rotating down. Malfrax in a world of hurt here, trying to heal themselves up. Sends out the heal, but it doesn't get it back here. It is going to get picked off by Nerd Herders.
Yeah, they tried to juke some of the damage by going south, but unfortunately...
Ooh, Dexter needs to be careful here.
There's no way out.
Whew. Dragon up and available to channel here for the members of Nerd Herders. Kerrigan looking to clear out those giants. Joanna heading mid. Malthael trying to fight it out top with Mosley. This is going to be a close one. Oh, just not the healing coming through here. Mosley's going to win this one once again. And May is also going to fall in the bottom lane here.
Big Kerrigan combo, caught two, but with not having your front line, because you've already eaten so much damage, it's tempting, but you got to be very, very close. And very careful.
We're going to see Joanna go ahead and get this Dragon Knight. First one of the game here. And she's looking at mid.
And I think that's just fine. So common tradition is that you're going to take it down south and open up that bottom lane. But the early Dragon Knights don't come with as much fort slapping power in every... as the late game is going to come through. So if you can get value right away, immediate, it's not the worst thing in the world to open that up and make it more dangerous for the other team to be there. And as we see bottom, Asmodan's going ham because he's a siege man, right?
Yeah, you're right. You know, that first Dragon Knight, especially this early in the game, not that strong. Sometimes, you know, teams set up to start taking it down on the rotation. By the time you end up in bottom lane, it's already dead. So you might as well just siege up mid in the early game. Try to open it up, maybe take a fountain away as well. Oh my goodness, big engage here from the side of Nerd Herders. They're going to find themselves with 2 kills, looking at a third here on the May. She pops into her Cryo Freeze, Polymorph, and goes down. 3 for nothing for Nerd Herders.
Vala had some massive Rain of Vengeance hits there. Caught 2 people with the first, caught May with the second, and catching those absolutely led to kills.
They're going to make a play for this mid fort here as well. Not a bad call, using those death timers to their advantage.
Yeah, they wouldn't have got a ton done bottom. They're more exposed if they stayed in that bottom lane. So just ripping down the mid fort after the Dragon Knight had started it for you, I think was a fantastic choice.
I'm going to say Bruiser Camp getting worked on here by Nerd Herders. Going to send that one top. Meanwhile, Giants were picked up by the side of Lowered Expectations. We have that Bruiser Camp sitting in bottom. They could rotate straight to that. Probably have enough time to get it out before Nerd Herders get here, but they're getting distracted by this Joanna, who did pop her Iron Skin and is just able to walk away. Malthael's working on the Bruiser Camp for the side of Lowered Expectations. In the meantime, Phoenix pushing forward with the help of a little bit of minions from Asmodan and now a whole Bruiser Camp.
Yeah, the siege that has been presented so far by Nerd Herders has been tough to answer for the side of Lowered Expectations.
This is kind of interesting. May was able to distract them long enough that they picked up that Bruiser Camp, but now she's ate through a lot of her health pools here. It's going to drop that Blizzard, but it's not going to connect onto anyone. Slowing Sands is going to be picked up by Chromie. Potentially move to a better position here in a moment. Nerd Herders backing up to clear up that Bruiser Camp. Let's take a peek at top here as Malthael and Phoenix battling it out with their Bruiser Camps.
Yeah, unfortunately that is spell armor for Malthael and does very little against those big phase bombs from Phoenix.
Dragon Knight, but will it be you?
This is working out really well for Nerd Herders. They're up 13s. They're going to have a camp pushing in bottom lane and be able to go look for a fight.
Channel up and available for them as well here. Bit of a 4v4 breaking out. We have the Condemn connecting onto Dingo. Big damage out from that Asmodan there as he lands his globe onto 3 of the members of Lowered Expectations. Chromie getting a little bit of damage with her Sandblast, but nothing that that the Brightwing is having any troubles healing up here. Cryo Freeze having to be used by Dingo here. He's going to go ahead and slide into the enemy team anyway. Falling Sword coming out, and oh man, down goes the May. Kerrigan trying to queue onto some minions to get out of there, but she's in some trouble as well. Turning back around and knowing that all she can do is auto and try to get some shields up at this point to stay alive. Maybe look for a counter kill, but unfortunately not going to work out. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Phoenix also getting the pick onto Melthiel here, making it in total on this entire map a 3-0 in favor of Nerd Herders, who are now looking to pick up their second Dragon Knight, I believe, of the match.
At this point, I think you take it bottom just because you have those siege giants that you don't want cleared for free, and you have the Asmodan. You might get keep. I've got to think that
I would think
come together here.
I would think looking at the XP lead Nerd Herders have right now, keep is definitely something that Nerd Herders are looking at here. They've already got that wall down. You have Asmodan just kind of sit back, throw those globes, not only hitting keep there, but also hitting heroes and chunking them down. Meeting stepping forward on that Vala, continuing to stack the fire at will, get some damage out onto that structure. Dragon still has a bit of health here, and that keep is already looking pretty low. Joanna's going to pop out in a minute, and now they have their front line back to kind of help with the peel. The keep does go down, and it looks like the members of Nerd Herders are backing off. Level 16's online, though. If I were them, I'd be sitting in this bush, ready to jump on them if they step out too far, either in bottom or mid lane.
Yeah, those huge Tide of Sin dunks coming out of Asmodan have just been, when you're up 3 levels, right, you're hitting for 12% more damage.
Oh no, not the place you want to be in. Melthiel's getting caught out here. Here comes the glow from Asmodan. The leap of fate to pull him out, but the auto is going to follow him. Asmodan getting the kill here onto Melthiel.
Asmodan must have gone to school with Robin Hood, because having his auto attack curve like that, I don't know how you do it unless you're in a movie.
Isn't it the worst when you think you're pulled to safety and you have an auto just following you all the way to finish you off? Either that or a ballless hungering arrow.
It's one of the worst things, that and going up against a Phoenix.
We're going to see Nerd Herders trying to use that 16 talent here to their advantage. An avalanche coming out, but it does not connect.
Yeah, they got just out of the way in time. Now, a neat talent pivot that we've seen this time. So Arco has played the Johanna in the last 2 games. Last game they took Subdue at level 4. This game, looking at the CC from Lowered Expectations, they pivoted into Hold Your Ground for that lowered cooldown and bigger shield. She's doing well. I think it's working out for her just fine.
Yeah, I
and
think
she has eaten all sorts of damage for the team.
I think you want that here instead anyway. Looking at the amount of CC that's over on the side of Lowered Expectations, you want to have that up more often as opposed to having a little bit extra slow. Last match, it was really the taunt. There was a crushing jaw. That was really the CC you're looking at, and that's not as hard to deal with as, a light bomb, a root from Anduin, the slows from both Chromie and May, the stuns from Kerrigan. There's a lot here to get a lot of value out of Iron Skin in this game.
100%. Yeah, I like the pivot. I like the choice. I even like the bush party.
Ooh, they are chasing. They want Mosley. Looks like Mosley is out of there and into safety. Not able to find that pick on a Phoenix. Unfortunate for the side of Lowered Expectations, but that's what they needed to be doing. Trying to pick on those members that are alone. Trying to close that XP gap by doing so. Fortunately, they weren't quite able to find the pick here. Joanna and Brightwing are sitting mid by themselves, though, so here's another chance, and it looks like they're not going to find it there either. 16s, though, online now, so they have that equal talent here. Now's the time to try and force something.
Yeah, I think that was absolutely the call to start looking for somebody. You need to wait for 16s before trying to take a team fight. And if you can take a team fight on even talent tiers and up one person,
Kerrigan,
why not,
it's
right?
time to leave. It's time to leave. They're making the rotation up here to try and find Dexter. Dexter's mounted up. Up comes Joanna. Does he make it out? Oh, no. He's stuck around. He's in the bush now. Oh, is he going to make it out anyway. It looks like he's just going to be able to walk on out of there. Members of Nerd Herders not wanting to go for him here, but they are going to go for this top fort while they're up here. And Joanna is going to go ahead and try to get a channel on this DK. And it's going to work out just fine for her, securing the third Dragon Knight of the game.
Immediately in position for that channel. And that's how it's worked out in 2 of these Dragon Knights. At this point, I don't know that they finished the core. I think you want to take the second keep so that the core area is more open, and you want to get 20. So I like this call from Nerd Herders. And if you're lowered expectations, you got to fight now.
Absolutely. Looks like they're trying to do that. May did icing in, dropped a Blizzard. The core's almost down, but they've almost got DK down in return. We're going to see Phoenix pop the ultimate, but is only hitting May and not really doing too much to her here. DK going to fall in just a moment here, but gets that last kick off onto the Malthael. Kerrigan looking for the combo, doesn't quite work out. We have the Rain of Vengeance out from Miding, and the Light Bomb comes out, but it does not hit onto anyone there. They do get the pick onto Phoenix, though. Here's a Falling Sword from Arco, shutting down Dexter, and they're going for the return kill. Nice combo, though, out from her before she goes down, and Malthael is in there trying to finish off that Joanna. Unfortunately, though, we're going to see May fall to that Azmodan.
Those big Tituson dunks. So, the comboing off of the core stun looked like such a perfect moment there, and we thought we were going to see just this wallop of a fight. Unfortunately, trading 2 for 1 is very dangerous when you're the 2 deaths and 2 of your keeps are down. They've got to be very careful here and very aware of where they're standing.
This is a bit of a risky call from Nerd Herders. You know, you only have about 10 seconds here until all the members are up on the side of lowered expectations to make this a 5v4. Phoenix has to travel all the way across the map. It's not even like he took Planet Cracker and has a global ultimate that he could use to help out his team. And they're hanging around core for quite a long period of time here. Up comes the May. I would be going for the... I think I want to try to force something there if they could have, with Phoenix so far away, making it a 5v4, but they're just going to walk away, not punished at all, and level 20 is still being looked for on the side of lowered expectations.
So Mei Ding caught a Chromie Sandblast to the face and lost half of her health. So I think maybe that put some fear and respect into them. And they said, okay, we're still up 20s. We're going to back up, wait for Phoenix, and we're going to try this all again. And they look like they're itching for a fight here.
Yeah, they want this. They're up the talent here. Look at that Condemn with the Azmodan Globe on top of that. Just shutting everyone down. Falling Sword comes out as well. Dingo's still managing to survive through all of that, but not for much longer. Down goes the May. Dexter on the point. We have the Emerald Wind out from the Brightwing to just push them off this point in a full 5-man team wipe. Nerd Herders will be taking game number 3 here. All 5 members down on the side of lowered expectations, and this will be your Division E West champions this season. Congratulations, Nerd Herders. Well played.
Absolutely. They were up 20s. They knew it. They saw the enemy, and they just ran at it. I'm surprised that we didn't see red names sooner, with both the Tide of Sin Globe from Azmodan, the Heaven's Fury from Joe, but just absolutely cleaned up right there.
We had Dingo from Lowered Expectations saying, congrats, good luck in Division D next season. Let's take a look at this match summary here, and we're going to hit up the members of Nerd Herders for an interview as well. See how they're feeling after their series and their season for NGS. But before we do that, Velk, anything you want to talk about on this ending screen here?
Only 2 angels got their wings this game. No, I think that they played it extremely well. Congratulations to Nerd Herders. You're going to hear us say that a few times. I think that their builds synergized really well. I think those massive dunks from Azmodan were just scary to deal with, and the Emerald Wind pickup, which I was talking about the Rain of Vengeance from Vala, but Brightwing pushed them into that Rain of Vengeance and that last fight, and Brightwing making it so everybody just couldn't do anything for way too much time.
You know,
so well done.
I just want to talk a little bit about that Brightwing Emerald win. It is probably, well, it definitely is the least pick of the two ultimates on Brightwing, but I think there's sometimes an argument to be made for picking it up. And then this is one of those cases where I think definitely Emerald Wind was the way to go. You're looking at a comp that really wants to dive in and engage. You have the Mei that's going to icing and the Kerrigan that's going to dive into your team. The Malthael that's going to dive into your team. Having that Emerald Wind for an extra tool of disengage, an extra tool for point control. It's one of these situations where definitely an argument to be made for picking that up over the Blink Heal, and I think it played out very well here for the side of Nerd Herders. I love an Emerald Wind Brightwing. It's kind of fun to just get in there and be like, nothing you can do. Just push you back now, you know?
I totally agree it was the pick up this game to just say, sorry, divers, get out of here. And then intensive wins at 20, meaning Brightwing can just continually do that to you. I don't even know if they needed it there, but oh my goodness, was it available and powerful and just showed what a level 20 heroic should be. And Rusty played it very well.
All right, just checking in to see if they want to do an interview here. Why don't we go ahead? We'll jump down into Lobby 2 in the NGS channel, and
I will be there.
We'll do a nice interview here with them in a moment.
We got a Mei Ding, a Rusty. Oh, they're all coming through.
They asked if the whole team could come, and I said, why not? You guys are the champions, right? Congrats. Yeah, congrats on the win tonight, guys. You guys are now the Division E West champions here. Just to kick things off, going into tonight, I mean, I know I had a little bit of conversation with Arco before lowered expectations were in the coin toss room. But how confident were you? Did you think this was going to be an easy one?
No, in my heart, I was expecting game 5. Like, as far, I mean, if we were lucky, like, they might have just punked us this entire time. It could have went either way. That's my thoughts, anyways.
Okay. And what kind of prep did you guys do going into this series? I mean, at this point, there's been so many games to kind of gather information on for scouting. So how much prep did you do in terms of that?
You'll have to ask Mosley. He's the guy. He's right here.
There's always one that loves to do that kind of stuff on a team, right?
Yeah, as they say, I'm the lover of spreadsheets. So yeah, I Stats of the Storm is a godsend. So the people that work on that and have kept that up and running they're amazing. So I use that a lot, and then we have our own little data sheets for the important information, and so it's great. Just look for the patterns.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know who on the team was in charge of the training montage set to Rocky theme music.
That would be Hemo, our coach, for sure.
You're a bum, Rocky. That's what he'd say to us, like, just whip us into shape. No, great guy. He super nice, patient with us, and we do our best to make him proud.
Well done with killer instincts in those games.
Do you have some other questions about the series? Because I have some questions, but I want to talk more about the games first before we get into those.
Sure. Tell me everything about Game 1, because I only saw the last 10 seconds as I got home from work.
Those were the best 10 seconds, so.
Oh, I can't believe you missed it.
I'm sorry. I will, in the back of my head, curse my coworker who ditched me to close, even though it was their responsibility tonight. But congratulations on the win. I loved the flexibility in the draft. I loved the synergies that you brought together. In Game 2, for me, again, having missed Game 1, you fell behind, you stuck in it, and then you got a great team fight win, got a couple people caught up on experience, got a big turn in, and then finally you laid that trap. So talk to me about the comms for that last trap on the top turn in of Tomb.
Well, in my mind, it was kind of, our lanes were looking okay at that point, and we didn't have anywhere where we needed to be. So it was just, let's just get into a bush, and we were all quiet. Rusty's just like, all right, just tell me when you want the light bomb. And then Malthael started walking up, and light bomb was the word, and that was it.
Yeah, no, and if they had cut bait there, I think that they would have saved the game and lived to fight another level. But that you continued going, you landed with the light or the Heaven's Fury, excuse me, already having pumped in some damage, got the big subdue condemn that slowed everyone. And you'll have to forgive me, I don't know if I think it was Mei Ding on the Cassia with the infinite lightning.
Yes.
And that just kept going back and forth. Malfurion, Chromie, Malfurion, Chromie, Malfurion, May. And because of that subdue from Arco, they weren't getting out of that. And that damage is just stacking and ultimately finishing people. Who finally said, let's run at the core?
Well, that's always Arco.
Yeah, that was me. There was a question like, "Oh, boss," and it's just like, no, just go straight, just go forward, Ben, on to glory.
And also, just quick props to Arco there too, because in the second game, like, we were sweating and we were behind like 2 to 6 kills, and like it wasn't feeling good. But he always keeps us on track with just keeps us in the game and with good calls, and we're
was
able to make
0-7 at one
comebacks
point there.
Oh my God, was it?
It was, and then you turned it to 3-8, and by the end of the game, I think it was like 12-9. So.
Just Captain keeping it together.
Yeah, such a good game.
Oh, shucks, guys.
Well, let's talk
Credit where credit's due.
Let's talk a little bit about the future for your team here, because now that you have won Division E West, you're now looking at taking on the winners of Division E East. Have you guys been paying attention to what's going on over there? Have you been doing any scouting and preparation for that, or were you more focused on tonight's match?
Mosley?
So I know that it's Souls and Slow-Mo and Wood League Airlines are the two that are battling for the top of East.
Mm-hmm.
And we scrimmed Souls and Slow-Mo at some point in the season. To be honest, I have done almost zero scouting, but that's okay because we have VODs, we got Stats of the Storm. I got a week or so. We're good.
Yeah,
okay.
They haven't even scheduled their match now, looking at the NGS site, so you can just start watching all the film.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and we'll get on there and we'll watch the stream, and it'll be great. I'm sure we'll be well prepared.
And my other question for looking at the future, are you guys planning on continuing to participate in NGS? Are we expecting to see you in Division D next season, potentially with the same roster here?
We'll see if we hate each other enough at the our next game. Yeah, we'll see what's going on.
All right, well, that's all the questions for me for tonight. So why don't we go ahead and get into some shout outs here. I'm gonna let you all take a moment to shout out whoever you'd like to. You guys are the champions, so you get the time here. We'll start up at the top here with Arco.
Yeah, I think I'll just start with thank you guys for casting. It's huge, you guys make the season so much fun, like going back and seeing the comments at Twitch and the people cheering and commentaries, seeing what other people see. I'd like to thank all the rest of the NGS staff for all the work and sweat they put into the season. And all the other teams, like they were great. It was a ton of fun and a blast this season. They should all feel great about how they played.
All right. Me dang, what about you? Do you have any shout outs you'd like to throw out?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out all the friends and family watching at home. They probably don't understand why we enjoy this hobby so much, but they come and support us anyways. And it's great to get those congratulations when your friends come out to watch.
All right, Mosley, what about you?
Not that they would ever listen to this, but my wife and family, because they're all staring at me like, hey, we need help. And I'm in here just playing video games. So that's great. And his name came up earlier, but Himo Santiago, our coach for all the time he spends coming in, reviewing film and just help giving us suggestions and stuff. So that's it.
All right, Robbie.
Just mostly just my family. Actually, I got a few text messages during the games. They're like trying to get me to explain some stuff that's happening, and I'm just like, I can't help you. but
you'll get back to it later.
It's
Yeah.
it's nice that you guys have supportive families watching. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's nice. Like they kind of live sort of far away, so it's kind of a way that we can connect other than like family Nintendo night.
Aw.
So, but yeah, no, and always Hemo, but he just has kind of broken things down for me a lot for some of the builds that I've been doing, and it's helped quite a bit, and that'll be it for me.
All right. And Rusty, how about you?
Yes, echo the sentiment of friends and family watching. I'll specifically shout out to a friend, Ty, who is always watching our games. She's like our biggest fan, so appreciate that. Shout out to the coach, Hemo. He just gives his time freely, and it's super beneficial to us. Shout out to Captain Arco for keeping us on point, good calls, and developing our strategies. And like he's done lots of work behind the scenes. Same with Mosley, tons of work behind the scenes. And then Skylar and Robbie just for being genuine badasses and kicking ass. And to all the other teams in our division, thanks very much for an awesome season. And last thing I want to add is that we had an undefeated season this time, and it feels awesome, and it made me really anxious and nervous and felt like a lot of pressure every time. But last season, we're the same guys that got our asses handed to us and couldn't even make it into playoffs. So if anybody out there's feeling discouraged, just get a coach and come back stronger.
All right. Well, congrats once again to you guys for winning Division E West. Best of luck in the E Division Finals against whoever you're playing from E East. And look forward to seeing where your team goes and grows in the future.
Thank you.
All right, thanks guys.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Let's get Valcomer back up here to wrap things up. And then we'll pop back on over to us as well on the camera here as soon as he's back. In the meantime, though, can I get your camera? Oh, there we go. There we go. Perfect. I was going to say, in the meantime, I've been Jazeline. Thanks for hanging out tonight, guys, and watching the Division E West Finals here. If you're interested in following me on Twitch, you can find me over at twitch.tv/Jazeline. Mostly cast a ton of Heroes of the Storm. I'm usually casting every Friday at 6 p.m. and Saturday at 3 p.m. And then I try to pick up a cast here or there if I can. I've been pretty busy lately, so I didn't get very many casts in at all this season for NGS, but usually I'm in there picking up a ton of casts. This season I did like 4, so thanks for bringing me in for my 4th cast of the season, Valcomer. Where can people find you?
Well, I for one am very appreciative of you helping me out. I was asked to fill in on this cast. Jazzy was able to come in and run the production side for me and even run game 1 solo as I got stuck at work. But if you search Valcomer CCS in Google, I can almost promise I'm going to come up. But at gaming_CCS is our official Twitter. I am a volunteer and analyst in NGS, and in the NGS off season, I run a separate league called Nexomania. So if you search CCS Nexomania, I promise you're going to see us on Reddit, you're going to see us on Twitter, and we'd love to have you jump in the Discord. But it's been a great night. Before we go, I have my traditional shout out of hi, Mom.
As always, tradition. All right, Valcomer, pleasure joining you. We're going to end off this night. Congrats once again to the Nerd Herders. And, lowered expectations, too, for making this far in the season. It's an accomplishment in and of itself. Can't wait to see what happens in the finals here for Division E. And best of luck to all the teams going into season. What are we into now? We're going to be going into 14, right? But ending up.
This is finishing season 12.
Yeah. 12 right now. We're going into 13. Best of luck to the teams that are now knocked out and looking at season 13 coming up. Yeah, good night, guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Jazzy. Thanks, everybody.